these can appear for the main scenario quest, and they will appear for your class. So this is telling me if you're above level 9, it will be synced, meaning I can't outlevel this content very much. It's a level 5 quest, I believe. Level 5 quest, so at level 9, if you're above that, it'll drop you back down to level 9, so you can't just come in here and steamroll everything. Now I will say, if you're struggling, if you're trying to do a quest and you find that you're failing it, two things to do. One, get another level or two under your belt. Those stats will really help. The other thing is really look at what is going on in the battle. Is there an NPC that's on your side that's dying? Look at the enemy that's attacking them. If there are multiple enemies in the field, are there any healers? If there are healers, go kill them first. Always, always, always kill the healers, because they are keeping your NPCs from killing their enemies. They're keeping you from killing your enemies. So kill the healers first. And then look at the text in the bottom. It'll usually say something like, oh no, stop the mage, or stop the conjurer, or stop that tank. Go get them. Even though there are other enemies on the field, the NPCs that are with you are usually capable of handling themselves. So a general rule of thumb, if you are dealing with a battle like this, it's usually best to let the main character, whoever that is, in this case it's the cultured conjurer, who we will find out her name later. She is a main character in the game. To deal with any additional enemies that come in. Let her focus on who she's fighting. You focus on the extras. And she tells me, more unwelcome visitors, slay them quickly, lest we be overwhelmed. So she's telling me You need to pay attention to them because if we let them live, they'll kill us. So take that feedback, even though it sometimes seems counterproductive because she may be fighting this huge monster and you're killing these little things. Um, Trust me, if you try to do it the other way, you're going to lose. Maybe not the first or second mission, but by the third or fourth, they get a little bit more complicated and you can fail them. Um, and it just forces you to do the whole thing over. As you get later in the game, sometimes those battles last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you have to start all the way at the beginning. So I picked up this crystal that floated towards me, and I am now in space, apparently, on a beautiful disk of magic. Obviously, I found something important. The audio is confusing. I do have my audio settings for speech set to Japanese, which is obviously the language of the game. You can, of course, have English voiceovers, German voiceovers, French voiceovers. Since I've played through the game quite a few times, I kind of know what's going on. You always have text to read, and I thought it would be interesting to go through with the original Japanese. So something is speaking to me, called me Crystal Bear. Heidelin. So essentially the crux of this entire core part of the game is that Heidelin is an essence of light. She's she is the world in a way. Um, and she's saying that over time her energy has kind of waned. The world isn't as light as it used to be. The universe isn't as light as it used to be, and darkness is becoming stronger. So since by having that connection to that crystal, I'm showing that I have some type of inherent power in me. I am the crystal bearer. I am the primary protagonist of the story, as every character is. I become her warrior to try to fight the darkness. So that's sort of indicating to you that while you are important, you are very unique, you're not necessarily the only one. There are other people out there like you. Um, and from a lore perspective, those would be the individuals who are helping you when you're in dungeons. You can't be the lone person who's super all powerful and everyone else is normal. So the adventurers that you interact with in dungeons and raids and group content, those are those other beings, those other warriors of light, so to speak. But you are central to the story, and most people will consider you to be the strongest. So apparently it knocked me out. Okay, so I'm no longer in my instanced duty. Back in the world with everyone else. And she wants me to return to my quest giver, let him know we found some evidence. We found a knife that was sticking in the back of that Gubu who attacked us. Almost as if they stabbed it to force it to run in there in anger and try to kill us. I could have teleported back to this crystal, but a little bit lower on Gil because I did buy all that gear, so we'll make the journey. See somebody who's riding a mount. Once I get to the appropriate level, I will be able to do that as well, and it will speed up travel significantly. So my curious conjurer's name is Y'shtola. She's well known around these parts as being a general good person, so she's off the list of suspects of people trying to hurt us. So let's go ahead and take that ether. Got another level, and I gained a roll action. So a roll action is something that is not part of your class, but it's something that is specific to the role you play in battle. So let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick. Go to our actions and traits, we go to roll. All of these things are what I will eventually unlock. You can see you gain access to them at 8, 12, 16, and so on. Each one serves a different purpose in battle. This one lowers the target's intelligence and mind by 10%. So this would be very effective against magic users. If I was fighting a mage, or a white mage, a conjurer type character, or a black mage type character, would not be very effective against, say, a sword-wielding paladin gladiator type character. I mean, I can lower their stats, but it doesn't really do a whole lot of good. So my main scenario quest has me to kill tiny mandragoras. Why they need to die, I'm not quite sure, but I actually have 2 quests now. I also have Speak with the Slacking Yemen, who are it's the majority of the orange circles here. So let's go kill those enemies first, and then we'll come back. A lot of times you'll find that enemies you end up killing on your hunting log later become enemies, at least at early levels, become enemies you need to kill for a quest. You know, they're trying to help you out by giving you reasons to kill these enemies, but as you move forward, you won't necessarily come across them in quests, so it's usually just better to kill them when you see them, or actually go through the process of seeking them out by looking at your hunting log. There are even times where I am running around on my level 40 or 50 character and I come across something out in the field that's level 10 or level 15 that I didn't kill for my hunting log because I didn't necessarily need the XP and never bothered with it. Again, each class has its own list, so as I switch jobs here relatively soon, I'm going to get a whole new hunting log, whole new thing of things to speed up my XP. So we're going to continue on finding these slacking people and telling them to get back to work. That was the gentleman we saw come out of that building earlier. He's not too happy to see me. Doesn't really seem to care about landlubbers, as he says. So we'll knock out these two. That fate's about to end, so I'm not going to bother trying to get over there. Whoop! Not paying attention, end up falling into a creek. Good thing is the game doesn't allow you to fall off of something like a cliff that has no end. You're gated off. There's an invisible wall there. You can't just accidentally run off to your death unless, of course, you're in combat with something and the fall is significant. Wow, these people are in very interesting spots. So this main story, it's obviously you can start in different cities. So in order to facilitate that, they built it to where it's essentially the same in each city-state. We're going to go do those because that quest just opened, that fate just opened. But they're a little different at the same time. So I started in Limsa Lominsa because I picked a job or a class that starts there. Normally I pick Conjurer as my first, which puts me in Gridania, which is a forested area. But occasionally I pick Gladiator first, which puts me in Ulda. You will go through the same type of introduction. You will go to the Adventurers Guild in your city. You will get a series of quests that tell you to go slay small enemies outside the gates. You will eventually be told go to your class hall to start your class quests. You will then be told to start that quest. Then you'll be told to go access the Aetherites and run around your city just like I did, but it'll be unique to that location. These quests of make sure you get to level 5 on all your gear, that exists in every city-state, so regardless of where you go, you're going to have similar quests. But this is an example of how things branch a little bit. So the quest I'm doing to tell these former pirates to get back to work and live honest lives is unique to this area because it's related to pirates. You're not going to have a quest exactly the same in Gridania, which is a lot of, woods folk and people who live in and amongst the trees. But you will have a quest that's very similar in nature, where you're going to be interacting with these folks. So the quest that I just had with Y'shtola, if you're in Ulda, you're going with a gentleman named Thancred, and you fight a giant bat. Spoiler. But it's essentially the same type of fight. It introduces you to the concept of a large enemy and additional small enemies coming in, and at the end you get the crystal, and you go through the same exact cutscene that I just saw. If you're in Gridania, you go through the same exact thing with, I can't remember what the enemy was, if it's a tree or something similar. So it doesn't matter where you start. Eventually the story will converge to where it's the same for everybody. Right now it's a little unique because of where you started and the storyline that exists in that area. But once I start traveling to the other zones here in 5 levels or so, that's when the story basically becomes linear. We've reached the point where everyone is doing the same thing. So at that point, it's really just where do you want to spend your time? I should have gone across the bridge. We will turn in this quest. Well, we'll talk to this last slacker and turn in these 2 quests, and then we'll end the video for this session. I'm trying to keep these videos to a reasonable length of time, which will help in editing and help make them a little bit easier to consume. And then we'll pick back up with wherever the main scenario sends us after that. We're approaching level 10, which means we'll get a new class quest once we hit that level. We're getting closer to the ever important 15 and 16, which gives you access to dungeons, leave quests, guild hests, a lot of ways to get XP. It'll also give us access to the smith system, which is essentially a training mode for your character. And the training selected is dependent upon the class that you're on when you undertake it. So if you're on a tanking character, it will take you through a series of quests that are designed to teach you how to tank, how to gain threat. If you're a damage dealer, it teaches you how to do damage without causing any problems for your party. If you're a healer, it teaches you how to heal. The best thing about that is it teaches you your job, it gives you some experience, and at the end of the first set, you get a ring that gives you increased XP below level 30. Very, very beneficial to have, especially if you're leveling multiple jobs, multiple classes. So our main quest is telling us to confront that gentleman that seemed very irritated by our actions, and he is to the south, which is near those sheep that we need to kill. So we will end it here, and then we will go on a sheep-killing, Severin-doubting adventure. Thanks again. See you next time.